$10,000 per month. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they said they're making $350 a day doing Instacart. And if you worked 7 days a week for 1 month, you make just about $10,000 gross. That's amazing. Now, I also spoke to someone who said right now during the quarantine, because Doordash and Instacart are in high demand, working Doordash, they make $250 a day gross. I think that's definitely realistic. When I did Doordash last year, when there wasn't a quarantine, I did it part-time, I could average around $100 per day. So if you worked a 10, 12-hour day during this national quarantine in a populated area, I could see you easily making $200 to $250 per day gross. And again, if you work 7 days a week for a month straight, that's $7,000 gross. I think that's believable. I mean, $10,000 a month on Instacart, I think you would have to have a great route and you'd have to get great tips, which is possible during this time. With COVID-19, the coronavirus, at least in America, it has spurred the best times ever for food deliveries. Why? Because you have high demand and low traffic. I mean, you'll never experience something like this again for side hustles, which now, I mean, you can almost make a career, at least for this point. Society won't always be like this. But with everyone ordering food, demand way up, and with no people on the road, people are still like kind of quarantined for the most part, even as the country reopens a little bit. That is the perfect storm for making the most money possible doing these apps. Again, these may be extreme numbers, $7,000 to $10,000 per month. But if you break them down per day, and based off my experience and based on the unique circumstance we're in at this time with the coronavirus, it is possible. Okay. Do I recommend working 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day for a month straight? Not necessarily, but if you take breaks and you have nothing going on, I mean, DoorDash could be kind of fun. Instacart I've never done. And, depending on your situation, look, it may help you to get ahead you could do as much or as little as you want. That's what I love about the gig economy. DoorDash is my number one go-to if I ever needed to, and when I was doing it last year in South Florida. And I traveled up and down the East Coast. What I also love about these apps is you can do it from anywhere that they service that area, and it's usually populated suburbs or cities. But what I could tell you is these are incredible numbers. And you say, Sam, that's gross. So if you made $7,000 or $10,000 a month gross, meaning before taxes, before expenses, that's not the true number. You're correct. But after I did it for a few months, what I figured out was if you subtract 30 to 40% max of your gross for taxes, wear and tear in your car, expenses, etc., that's pretty much what you're going to look at net for the most part. So worst case scenario, if you made $10,000 a month gross, again, that's you working 7 days a week, every week of the month, 10, 12-hour days. You'd make worst case scenario $6,000 take home, $7,000 probably. And a more realistic number, I believe the DoorDash guy, like if you're making $250 a day, working 10, 12-hour shifts, during this time, you're working 7 days a week for 30 days, and you make $7,000 gross, I think you'll probably take home around $5,000, a little bit under $5,000. But that's an extreme amount of money for a side hustle, which right now is almost like a career, okay? And if you got nothing else going on, if you got laid off or something like that, yeah, if you make that much money, you probably won't be able to collect unemployment. But, I don't know, man. For me, if the money's on the table, and not everyone enjoys doing DoorDash and Instacart. Some people don't like using their phone. They don't like driving. And some people, it's not for everyone. The majority of people I've met in my life, experiencing doing this and talking to them, they do enjoy it. But there's some that don't. I enjoyed it because I enjoy to drive, especially in nice weather and nice areas. So there's good and bad experiences with different deliveries. But I at least want to document this unique time during COVID-19 Where with some of these gig economies that you can make $10,000 per month or $7,000 per month even. I mean, even if you have $5,000 per month, again, gross, but even if you deduct 30%, to clear a couple thousand or $3,000-$4,000 a month to work on your terms and your way, and right now with no traffic on the road, that's the key thing that you really have to underline. That is a blessing right now to these food deliveries. You got the high demand and low traffic, because traffic, especially during rush hour, is what would make these food deliveries very challenging and frustrating, because you can only complete so many deliveries in an hour. But with no traffic on the road, you can complete maximum deliveries if you're efficient. This will not last forever. Hopefully you made it to this point in the video 6 minutes in. Listen to me. This will not last forever. People will start to drive again. Society will reopen. You cannot base a budget on making over $7,000 a month for the rest of your career doing Doordash or Instacart. I would say a safer average, if you did a full time, would be somewhere between $2,000 to $4,000 per month. Again, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on your area, your hustle, how much time and how many days a week you want to work. I mean, do you want to work 7 days a week every day of your life? It's your decision. If you're single and you got nothing else going on, it's up to you. But pace yourself. I would think an average is, for me, I always try to figure out, on the weekends I may grind a little bit harder, but on the weekdays when I did a part-time, if you can make, anywhere between $50 to $100 a day gross, you're good. $100 a day is great. And I think when these times end, I think you can bank on around $100 per day without killing yourself. If you put a little bit more effort into it, maybe $150 a day gross. So, and that would be about take home. If you grossed $150 per day during a regular times, let's say you would net then about $100 a day. So 100 times 30 days in a month, that's $3,000 a month take home if you worked every day of the month, and if you put a certain amount of time and effort into it. So you could definitely survive and thrive off it. You would definitely give a big part of your life to it, though. And eventually, look, these companies will consolidate. Uber may buy Doordash, or Doordash may buy Instacart, or whatever. There's going to be consolidation. Traffic is going to come back on the road. And times never stay the same. Job opportunities never stay the same. So the only downside for if you made this a full-time hustle and down the road is you just have to be willing to adapt, because you're really not building a career resume in one sense of speaking, right? Like, so if you do this for 5 years and this gig economy is no longer there, you have to you may have to transition to another hustle, because getting a job and saying, well, what have you been doing for the past years? And well, I've been doing Doordash. Is that a bad thing? No, because you've been doing something. The worst thing you can say is I haven't been doing anything. But all I'm trying to say is very hard to build a career off that. But you could, definitely as a single person or someone making money on the side or divorced and resetting, this is a great hustle. You just have to be conscious. There are some pitfalls. But look, the bottom line is, if you're out there, if you're able and willing, and if your area is right, make the money while you can, guys, okay? And because even now, we're about in week 6 of a national lockdown here in America, and they're starting to reopen some states, and I see more traffic on the road, a little bit more congestion. So eventually, if we go back to somewhat normal, traffic during rush hour and major times is not going to allow for this level of income to be made doing Doordash, Instacart, etc. So I will say this, if you're interested in understanding Doordash and seeing my experience, I even documented doing Doordash, and I showed you guys what doing a delivery is like. Go to my YouTube channel. I have a playlist called Doordash. Check it out. There's 20 or so videos in there. Subscribe to my channel if you're not. It's free. If you'd like to join my memberships, click that blue button. I go live once a week, and that may increase over time. It'll be a members-only chat where we can interact. And every day on this YouTube channel, I go live, and that's just for everyone who's a subscriber. So if you appreciate this video, I appreciate you click the thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love.